This is a quick reminder for anybody with a body, but especially anyone who is chronically ill or disabled, that your best is whatever you can accomplish without compromising your physical, mental, or emotional well-being. Your best is not what you can accomplish by disregarding your physical, mental, and emotional needs. If you can do more than what you're doing right now, but it would compromise your safety and your wellness, you can't do more. You're doing enough. You can be done. That's all. Okay, I love you, bye.
I wanted to start with this video because I know myself. I know that I could use this reminder probably every second day at the latest. And I kind of have a feeling that if you're here watching this video, it might be similar for you. Because it is incredibly easy to be hard on ourselves and to compare either to other people or to us on good days. Just be like, well, I know I managed to do more at some point. But chances are, again, if you're anything like me, that on the days you did incredibly a lot, and the day you're comparing yourself to, you didn't actually feel all that good. Maybe you did for a while, but latest in the evening you had this incredible crash because you did too much. And that's not really something we should be striving for. So yeah, I might need to keep this video as a reminder and watch it like every day or every second day. Hello baby queers, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing neurodivergent TikToks again. Because honestly, why not? These are kind of fun and call us out kind of a lot, but they are also kind of helpful. You know, like this first video, which is a very important reminder. So that's what we're doing today. But you know the deal, before we continue, you're gonna get hydrated. So grab some water, some tea, whatever else you like to drink, and then we'll continue. Do you have your drink? Okay, let's go.
Hey, what time are we leaving? Oh, it starts at 4. That's great. What time are we leaving? Well, we want to get there for like 3:45, but it starts at 4. Cool. What time are we leaving? Hey, would you rather me put the files on your desk or in your folder? Because I know some people have different preferences. Oh, whatever's easiest. Okay, cool. Thank you. Why are you putting the files on my desk? It's so much easier to just put it in the folder. Cool. That's why I asked you. Hey, what time does this event end? Oh, we can go in a sec if you want. I didn't say I want to go. I just wondered what time this all finishes. Yeah, we can go. I'll finish these drinks and we'll shoot off. That's not what I asked! Oh, pasta bake. Nice. When will it be ready? Oh, well, I'm just starting to make it. Cool. What time will it be ready? Well, I'm only just preheating the oven. Okay, but what time are we eating?
I think this is where living in Germany kind of comes in handy, because it's a whole meme that Germany is just the most autistic country, and I think in some aspects I can definitely see it. You know, it doesn't mean that as an autistic person you will never struggle in Germany, but I kind of feel like this thing specifically doesn't happen that much because Germans generally like being on time. So they will usually be like, oh, well, the event starts at 4, but we kind of want to be there a little earlier, right? So I think we'll drive about an hour, so we need to leave at this time. Germans like being on time, so at least with that, it's kind of fair. But yeah, generally, some people will still be like this, even in Germany, and honestly, I don't know if it's more or less frustrating if not every interaction is like this. I kind of feel like it adds up a little. So if every, you know, interaction you have with other people ends up like this, where you just ask a question and you expect a direct answer and you're not getting it, I can understand wanting to yell at these people. Yeah.
I don't like those spoons. I don't like those spoons. Those spoons are too flat. Those ones are too long. Those ones are gold. I don't like those. These are... I don't like those. Those ones are plastic. Those ones are too shiny. Those ones have handles. I don't like that. Those ones are also... those ones are too round. Those are just big spoons. Oh, those are surfing spoons. Sorry. Oh dear. These ones are... No, the handle's wrong. Those ones have indents in the handles. These ones are just disgusting. I don't approve of any of them.
All right, no spoons.
Two neurodivergent roommates shop for spoons, and one of the roommates didn't even have to say anything because the other neurodivergent like X'd all the spoons. Which I kind of get, like we didn't get a look at all of these spoons, but the spoons this person called absolutely disgusting, I really just have to agree on. You know, we didn't see the others too well, but I think that's very fair. I bought spoons online. And I looked at the picture and I tried to see if like customers in reviews left pictures so I can get like more different angles to decide if they're good spoons, and I got really lucky. And I also got really lucky because they're not too heavy, because I eat most things out of bowls and with spoons. So good spoons, very important. And I think if I had to buy new spoons, if all my spoons vanished somehow, I would be this person in the store just Xing all the spoons out. I'd be like, no, honestly, I guess I just starve because I can't find any spoons. Or try like 10 different stores until I find spoons, you know? Because otherwise, how am I gonna eat anything, really?
Autistic women, did you know that if you mask enough, if you suppress enough about your autism right into your cells, you can get a chronic illness that keeps you in bed for like years? Let that shit out.
I'm not sure if I needed to know this. I feel like I did, but I also feel like I don't want to know that because I tend to overthink these things. So now I'm wondering how long I have of suppressing like my traits that much, like at work or around my family, who, by the way, obviously are also kind of neurospicy, at least some of them, you know, but you don't know how to tell them, and your traits just seem to clash and you just like mask the shit out of every interaction. But anyways, and I'm just like wondering, like I have some people luckily that I can just unmask around and just like be weird and quiet, and that's great. So if you don't have people like that, maybe try finding them. I know that's like easier said than done, but yeah, at least having like space and like time for yourself that you can unmask, or just be entirely alone so you can unmask. Very important, because even if I do have that space, I'm still over here worrying how long I have until I might develop some kind of like chronic condition that isn't gonna get better again, really, which probably does not help actually, but you know. POV, you grew up undiagnosed autistic, strict routines, depression, constantly feeling out of place, buttered noodles, some more depression, hyperfixations. You're so mature for your age, random fact spilling, getting bullied, having great imagination, resting bitch face, bottling up emotions until you melt down, getting dressed, sensory issues, more mental illness, collecting random things, easily attracted to fictional characters, and acting like them, being honest but getting told by society to stop being rude, stimming and getting kicked out of class for distracting others, getting diagnosed as a teenager and regretting having to waste your childhood to mask to fit in. Any or a lot of these will probably apply. Yeah, because getting me a diagnosis? No. Dragging me to a random psychiatrist who doesn't know anything about being neurodivergent, who also just sends me to get an IQ test, which turns out fine, and then you as a parent is going, see, you're smarter than this. You just need to try a little harder. Was not the helpful move my parent intended in that moment. You know, because depression? Yes. Having sensory issues but not knowing that? Also great, because then you just know you're getting agitated, but you can't really pinpoint why, especially if you're not great at feeling your body. To this day, I have no idea how I wore a leather jacket at all times in high school, because I was obsessed with this. It was probably like sensory-wise not great, but I loved my leather jackets. I was probably way too warm, but I was angry all the time anyway, so I probably couldn't tell when I was overstimulated, you know? But anyways, mental illness, either being way too quiet because you don't know how to act, because you don't know how to mask anymore, or fidgeting and being told to knock it out. Yeah, honestly, again, I did not need to be called out like this actually, but there we are.
I'm autistic, and let's talk about that. If you think burnout basically means you stop functioning, your toes charred down and basically can't do anything anymore, then that's generalized burnout. It comes from work, stress, life, and you basically crash, rest, quit your job dramatically, possibly, and you slowly bounce back. Autistic burnout is more sneaky than that though. You keep functioning, kinda. You smile, you keep acting, you keep working, and you keep your mask on. But on the inside, your brain is melting. You can't shower anymore. You can't eat. Noise is violence. You get overstimulated way quicker. And the worst part about it is nobody believes you because you look fine. With autistic burnout, there is no stopping. You keep going till your brain goes full Windows 98 fucking blue screen. It's real and really dangerous. Recovery can take months to years. So if you're autistic and you feel like a phone stuck at 1%, stop pretending that you're at 80. Because you're not. Plug yourself in.
The first thing I have to point out is that I love this person's shirt. And I do believe they're also German. But this shirt, I need to get this shirt. Where the hell did she get this shirt? I want this shirt. But anyways, basically this, like, normal burnout is already hard enough to overcome, right? And to like completely heal from. And not just like fall back into old patterns and repeat that cycle, you know, just like burnout, recovery. It just feels that much harder because there is more things, right? It's not just your job. It's every little thing that just becomes harder because of your brain somehow. So yeah, finding ways to rest and recharge, because yeah, just resting to make sure your battery does not drop more from 1%, already good, but finding things that actually actively recharge you so you're not at 1% anymore. Also gonna be a lot of work, really, which seems less than ideal if you're burned out, but you know, is probably something worth looking into, you know, because no one likes being stuck at 1%. Yeah, and also if you have people in your life that can help you with this to, I don't know, like brainstorm ideas or do things for you that you don't have the energy for, then yeah, asking for help is never easy, but I think in the long run it's probably going to be better if you have those people, you know.
I'm autistic and I live in Germany, and what that means is you need to calculate when you go shopping. Because today is Pentecost and people love to celebrate Christian holidays in Germany to an extent where they don't work, which is amazing because it means extra days off, but it also means every store is closed. But me having worms in my brain, I totally forgot that I can't buy anything today and I don't have anything in my fridge or in my pantry. So I went to this small farmer's market and I was like, oh, they have bread, and you know how serious Germans are about their bread. It's so good. Since it's also strawberry and asparagus season, they also had strawberries, so I got strawberries, and I got bread. The thing is, I went up to the clerk to pay and they were like, oh, these are from Saturday. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. And she was like, yeah, no, you can have them for free. So I got a loaf of bread and strawberries for free because they were from 2 days ago. God, I'm gonna eat good tonight. I love Germany.
Yeah. National holidays, I love them and I hate them for specifically these reasons. Like, I love them because obviously more days off means probably masking less and probably having more time to rest or recharge, right? That's great. What's really not great is, A, you can't shop on these days, but you also don't really want to go shopping a day or two before the national holiday because people go absolutely insane. These people are acting like they're not going to be able to shop ever again. These people are preparing for the apocalypse, even if it's just like 1 or 2 days that they can't go to the store. They will be in your way. There will be way too many people. Everyone will almost like shove each other out of the way or just constantly be in the way and just be super rude. And normal grocery shopping is already overstimulating for me. Those days, however, way worse. So you really have to plan around it. And I keep forgetting when national holidays are, and I just keep asking people at work, just like, wait, is this day a national holiday? Because some national holidays aren't actually national, they're only like in certain regions. But they're all marked on our calendars we have at work, so I'm just like, is this actually a national holiday where we live? I have to keep checking. I've lived here my entire life. I've lived in the same, like, sort of same region. Don't think I will ever actually memorize those, though. You know, some of them, sure, like around Christmas, but others, definitely not.
If you are autistic and struggle with empathy, I'm curious to know which type of empathy in particular you struggle with. For me, I have very high cognitive empathy and very low emotional empathy, which has led me to being called cold a lot in the past. I will give an example of each of them in case you don't know the difference. So emotional empathy is when you would feel someone's emotions with them. Even if a situation did not happen to you in particular, it happened to somebody else, you would still feel the same emotions that that person might be feeling in a situation. For example, if I got a promotion and I was telling you about it and you had very high emotional empathy, I would be happy and telling you, hey, I just got a promotion, oh my god. And you would also be happy because I got a promotion. I'm happy, I'm overjoyed, I'm excited. So you are also happy and excited and overjoyed because of my promotion, even though it's not yours. But if you have high cognitive empathy instead, and I'm telling you that I got a promotion, you might logically understand that I am happy and that I've been working hard and this is really exciting, but you don't feel happy. You just understand logically that I feel happy, and you know that, and that makes sense to you. You know what is causing my joy. You know that I am feeling joy, but you don't feel any of it because you have high cognitive empathy and not high emotional empathy. I hope that's making sense. I have a tendency to fake a reaction for people that is basically my interpretation of me mirroring an individual who has very high emotional empathy. I'll show you how I actually would act in this situation in real life so that you can see how fake it is. If you're telling me that you just lost your job and that you're really upset about it, this is how I might act in real life. Let me try to do this honestly because it's really bad. You lost your job? Oh my god, that's crazy. That's so terrible. How did that happen? How are you feeling? Do you see how fake that is and like how I'm stimming to like I get very uncomfortable because I'm trying so hard to react appropriately so that my reaction is not deemed as inappropriate. And it's the same with positive situations as well. If you were telling me that you just got a new dog and you're really excited, I might react like this. Oh wow, that's awesome. That's so cool. I love dogs. That is such an overdone reaction that I actually just lied to you by accident in trying to act out the situation. I don't like dogs. Notice how I literally lied to you in this example because I'm trying so hard to give an appropriate reaction. And that doesn't make me a mean person. It just means that my autistic brain really struggles with emotional empathy.
Honestly, I think I'm kind of in the same boat. I think, though, however, I have like more emotional empathy when it comes to animals than I do with humans. With humans, it ends up something like this. If I like try to make an appropriate reaction, most of the time I don't have the energy for it. And I love when people like know me and can tell, even if I don't have like a super intense outward reaction, that I am happy for them, but I don't feel happy because it's not my thing, it's your thing, and I'm happy for you, even though I don't seem happy. And I love people that get that, really. But you best believe I will be upset if you pick up a cat that obviously does not want to be picked up. I might low-key yell at you. Well, not yell because I don't want to distress the cat more, but I will like try to get you to put the cat down because it's obviously not enjoying it. Then I do actually feel like upset and uncomfortable. but it doesn't work with humans somehow. I'm so sorry. You know, you're probably gonna have to either deal with a very fake sounding reaction or just a very flat reaction. Yeah.
I don't mean to shit specifically on this person, but this is a metric that I think we're seeing more and more often in the autistic community that makes me personally extremely uncomfortable, because I also do not have another option. I do not have a friend to make phone calls for me. I don't have a social worker. I don't have an occupational therapist. Whatever type of support there is available for people out there, I've not been able to access it. I don't have any other option than to make my own phone calls. However, as a result of being disabled by my disability, that's incredibly difficult for me. I'm 28 years old and I've been living outside of my parents' home since I was 16. I've had to make a lot of phone calls in my time. I've failed at significantly more phone calls than I've managed to do. I would say 8 times out of 10, I physically can't speak. I physically cannot verbalise any words to be able to speak to a person on the phone, and as such, I just hang up. I don't have another option. I still just have to keep doing it and keep trying until I actually manage to make the phone call. But there's this sort of rhetoric and this sort of thought that's going around of if we just don't give autistic people any support, they'll either have to die or figure it out. And obviously they figure it out. When no, I don't. I eat 1 meal a day most days. I say most days because on the other days, I don't manage to eat a meal at all. Cooking and thinking of what to eat and sorting my food is extremely difficult to me. And using this type of thing, you would think I would get sick of being hungry. I've had to make hundreds of meals through my life. Eventually, I would just train myself to be able to make a meal and eat it. It's not that easy. I'm sorry, if I could just train my autistic traits away, I wouldn't be autistic. I'd have just done it already. They'd be gone. I no longer have my little setup, but I also just need to point out, obviously, the comments from someone else who isn't receiving appropriate support for their disability. And it's one of those things where I just feel like they've been left to fucking rot and deal with it and had to figure it out themselves, combined with a little bit of gaslighting to oh, just train yourself and you'll be fine. And it's one of those things where I feel like we as a community are starting to gaslight each other into well, the support's never going to happen, so you're going to have to just deal with it. Just deal with it, figure it out. When some of us fucking can't, most of us fucking can't, okay? It's a hard life out here. I'm doing my best and it's hard. And I can't just train myself to do the things that my disability disables me from doing.
Honestly, this kind of mindset of, oh yeah, you'll figure it out, or you just have to die, is kind of very specific. It sounds very harsh, but that's kind of it. People will think that if you're left alone, you will just figure it out because you don't want to die, right? But chances are there are things that aren't gonna get easier because, well, your brain works differently. You know, some things might get a little bit better. I can do phone calls at work most of the time. If I have to call a doctor, chances are I'm just never gonna make an appointment. I've gone out of my way to find a doctor where I can just write them an email and hope they actually read and check their emails and reply so that I can get doctor's appointments, because if I have to call, I'm just never gonna go to a doctor again. And just letting people die because you're ableist and you think, oh no, they have to figure it out, right? Is incredibly cruel, but also incredibly stupid. Because yeah, people's brains work differently, and if someone has a disability, there are obviously gonna be things that they can't do. And just be well, we're not gonna give you support because that's gonna make you weak and you just have to figure it out on your own, is just wrong, really.
I'm autistic and I take things very, very literally, and here are some more things that I took incredibly literally. The first one is something I still do, and it is when people say, you're right, when you pass them and you're walking in opposite directions on the street, I have always, and still do immediately go, yeah, I'm good, thanks, how about you? As quickly as I can, because we're walking in opposite directions, we've both got places to be. It wasn't until maybe a couple of months ago where my friend was like, that people just mean that they want to say hello. I was like, well, just say hello then. So the second one, again, learned this really recently, is that when people say rolling their eyes, they just kind of mean looking up, or giving a funny expression. They don't mean literally going which is what I used to do. I used to roll my eyes fully around my head. And when I was digital, I used to think that I couldn't roll my eyes because if I looked up, my eyes didn't roll back and come back to the front of my head, do a full 360 inside my skull. So the third one is when people say, I've been running around all day. That doesn't actually mean that they're running from location to location. I thought that people who said I've been running around all day were running from place to place to place to place to place to place. Let me quickly run around the shops. I thought people actually ran. It wasn't until I think I was about 19. I was on a bus, we were on the way back to uni from town, and my friend was like, God, we've been running around town for me. And I said, no, we've been walking. She was like, you know that that's not what people mean. And I was like, oh, I did not know that that's what people meant. In a quite similar vein, the first time I heard someone say they just want to get in your pants, I assumed that that meant that they wanted to wear my pants with me, like we would both stand in the leg holes of my pants. And I was like, why would they want to get in your pants? It wasn't until quite a long time later that I realised that that just meant they wanted to sleep with you. And the final one is when people give me joke commands and then are surprised when I actually do it. When they're like, oh, you should go and tell that person something. And then I go and do it and they're like, why did you do that? And I'm like, well, you told me to. So obviously I'm going to. Again, if you don't want me to do something, don't tell me to do it. The thing that I've realised is that there are many, many things that I take literally, and I probably don't even know what half of them are. So yeah, let me know what things you took very literally that now make you laugh.
You know, it's kind of a weird feeling when you actually meet someone at work who take things more literally. Like, our manager sometimes jokes that he wants someone to drive him somewhere, and this coworker will literally offer him just like, yeah, no, I can actually drive you this evening, like, it's fine. It always makes me kind of cringe, because you think at least like by the second or third time they would figure it out. But I know I probably also have moments like this. And that's probably what makes me cringe. It's not that, oh, this person doesn't understand the joke, because that's me all the time, and I think it's just because I feel bad if I don't. And it's maybe just a little bit easier, but I will still try to explain it to him, because I want people to explain it to me if I take things too literally. But yeah, there are probably a bunch of expressions that make no sense if you take them literally. And as of right now, I have forgotten each and every one of them. But I know I've been in this situation a few too many times, you know, because again, yeah, Germans maybe are a little bit more direct than Americans maybe, but that doesn't fully get you out of situations like that, actually. Anyways, that was all the TikToks for today, because I could make this video forever long. But we all don't have the attention span for that, you know, so I'm just gonna leave us here. I hope you enjoyed the TikToks. I hope you feel called out and were maybe able to get some helpful tips or reminders. And I'll see you in a few days with my next video.